well, I had to take at least a little brief video while on my way to the library on Powell Street in Market, of course. It's Sunday. It is 12:36, shortly afternoon. Beautiful day again. Yesterday it was raining. I was just listening to some music you might be familiar with. First of which was Pink Floyds, Another Brick in the Wall. Talks about we don't need no education, we don't need no mind control. Teachers leave them kids alone. It's very, very powerful. I remember growing up with that. Maybe you have as well. And then I listened to Queen, We Will Rock You. We Will Rock You. And after that it comes on We Are the Champions. It talks about time after time I paid my dues. I've been in prison, but I've committed no crime. It's funny how that is, during our past as human beings, during our unique past and how we all become. Like this guy where they're singing and the role we adopt, right? Secretary, the bank clerks, doing data entry or telemarketing like myself. We have actors, we have lawyers, doctors, whatever it is. We fall into that role, right? Eventually. My point is to really make some conscious effort to really figure out who do we want to be. And also, having the awareness that we can be anything we want to be, anybody we want to be, especially in America. Me being from Germany, I'm very well definitely aware of that. No doubt, we are our own film director already. Of course, you're your own CEO, your own boss. You have to. You have to be the captain of your own ship, or in other words, more powerful, the master of your own universe, the god of your own creation. And that's where the truth will set you free, your own truth. You need to find that. That's why truth of self is so vital. It's the key. Knowing who you are and being yourself. One thing I wrote to remember in the Pink Floyd song where it talks about a teacher who pointed out the weakness in children, and that happens a lot. There's a line, a lyric in that song, I don't quite remember it. But yeah, it's very sad how it is when we come into this world and how we learn. And how harsh, that experience is. How really, in a worst sense of the word, how our spirits were broken. Because we were told to basically shut up, listen and learn. And not think anymore. So we had to forget, we had to learn the ways of the world. And that's ultimately the sin. That's the cardinal sin. That's what Jesus Christ, I've come to find, is a symbol of. Because we all have lost that. Yeah, we all become separate from the source. Because we're all children of God. But we came into this world where, well, God is used as an excuse to fight with one another. Isn't that interesting? Come to think of it. Very interesting how we humans are. I love that. One of the things my ex-wife used to say, God doesn't like ugly. Right. How people can be ugly with one another and mean. And calculating. And it is really how we come into this world again. And how we learn from our parents, from our teachers. Who don't mean necessarily bad because they have been, learned from their parents and their teachers, and their grandparents, previous generations, and so it goes on and on and on. Actually, you can trace it back towards the beginning of time, when all was one. And we lived in this universe as part of our natural environment. But thousands of years ago, something happened in that evolutionary process. Came into being the species called Homo sapiens. And the brain capacity of this creature really developed to a point where we, the beginning of man, started to make tools and become organized in agriculture, in small communities, develop agriculture. Warfare came into the picture very early. At the beginning of building those communities, long before even the Middle Ages. Long before Egypt, long before Rome. Long before everything we know. This is dates back to the cave paintings. when mankind came together in tribes and developed things such as music, art, paintings, communication, slowly. I mean, this process took a long time. It's an evolutionary process. But the question is, how have we really evolved? Have we really consciously evolved? Or have we just fallen into a certain path? Which in the beginning, of course, we were somehow already doomed in that we were going against one another. We were already a house divided against itself. We became that. This world, I'm talking about the house, our home, as human beings. And so we have all these countless cultures, belief systems, traditions, sense of right and wrong, different opposing views. And people argue with one another, still have been, and still continue to, on a very international level, global level, political level, there are wars, and also on a personal level we fight wars with others. We defend ourselves against how we want to be perceived and what we think is right. We're all attached to that sense of what we think is right. The key to oneness, for us to come together, is openness. It's really a matter of allowing others to be and really listening to that and learning from that, learning through that. That's the key. It's about what we learn. As a matter of fact, let me pay tribute a little bit to the guy over there on the drums. I'm so immersed in my own talkings, as usual. Wow, today it's been an interesting day. I've realized a lot of things about myself, how I in a way have been very passive. I've been very active in putting out ads and again attracting attention and, people interested in knowing more, but then when it comes to, following up or even calling people, I do nothing. It's interesting. This guy's pretty good, There's a picture actually where it says he's been on Oprah. I don't know about that, but that's Will Smith in the picture. And he sings too. You can probably stand on his head, Even though I've heard him sing that song, when I first came to San Francisco, it's like, reminds me of my ex-wife a little bit, even though it's different. And she did a one-woman show, and she has performed this 300 times, the same thing. So when I met her, she already had performance number 115 people. And we all can fall into a certain pattern. Anyway, briefly back to openness. Or rather, I wonder if you see that importance of that concept, openness. So not holding on to self, not holding on to we saying, for example, even America saying, that the Middle East, they're all evil, they're the enemy. That's the wrong paradigm, They're us against them. And we all have enemies, or those we consider nemesis maybe in our life, or people who are difficult to deal with, we don't even want to deal with. I've come to find it's about making peace and letting go. Life is too short and too precious to fight. And we're not here for that. We're here to make peace, to come together as one, to unite as one. And that's what the conscious revolution is all about. All these people, not only these people here, but everybody in this world. It's not about following me. I would not even want that. It's not about me. It's about you living your life. And we coming together and working together and learning also something in the process as life is learning. It's not the learning that we learn in school from a teacher who told us how to be and all of this stuff, rules in math or things in biology and history, which are all very interesting. We all would learn those naturally along the way. But really what's important to really teach. Let's think about that and figure something out. I would like to start a school, no doubt about that, but children really learn based upon their natural interest in their inner humanity. And really learning about good things, learning about truth, learning about themselves, learning about one another, exploring about life, where the relationship is not just between the teacher and the child, but the child is a teacher. The greatest teacher, as a matter of fact, are children. If you have children yourself, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. And even if you don't, you might remember how it was when you long ago began on this process and started to ask questions and wondered about life. We cannot really physically go back to that, but we can go back in our mind and really start that process of our own conscious revolution. Thank you again very much for being here. Market and 5th Street in San Francisco, and I will be back later. Thank you. My phone probably will be turned off on Wednesday because money-wise I'm really whatever. And I'm not even going to bring up the issue money, so you can stay in touch with me via email. Glad to talk to you, or even before you can call me if you like. All the best to you, and remember, well, definitely remember, Thank you.